welcome to Doyle Boys, a podcast where each week us three brothers decide what is the absolute best of any given topic by going through a knockout tournament. I'm James, the smartest brother of the group.
I'm Andrew.
And I biffed it, bro. Andy, you biffed it. All these weeks when you've been trying to biff his intro, the one week where you didn't biff it, you self-biffed.
I'm Andrew.
Okay. And that's it.
It's supposed to be it goes Doyle and Stephen and Andrew. Every week we do
every
it
week.
That way.
Oh, all right. Actually, can I start introducing myself as Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can start introducing yourself as Quexelorp if you want. But
Quexelorp?
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl.
You like Quexelorp? That's pretty good. We leaving all this in or are we doing it again?
Yeah, this is all staying in. So what's your name?
This is Golden.
I was going to do, I'm Stephen and I am a god.
And I'm Andrew. Hurry up with my damn croissant.
James
This week's episode.
James didn't have any Kanye references because he doesn't listen to him enough to have any Kanye lines in his head.
I know. If I was doing this intro, the whole thing would have been references to Kanye straight away.
Yeah,
This is what the intro to the show generally is.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it different on purpose to mess with you.
They didn't.
What's going on, Andy? James has his asshole bleached. That's what it is. His reference.
And on this week's episode, we're going to be deciding what is the best Kanye West album, if you haven't got the fact that we keep talking about Kanye already. And this week, we'll be battling over, what are the albums on the list?
James, please.
We've got
put him in
Late
random.
Registration,
I'll point.
808s and Heartbreak, My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy, Donda, Graduation, Yeezus, Jesus is King, and Life of Pablo.
Oh, very good. What's the very last album in the tournament tree?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
You nearly did it again.
Yeah, well, it's a long and confusing name, despite being the best album. But we'll get to that.
It changes the whole feeling of the album.
Does it?
If you change the title.
Does it? Oh, I'm clicking the wrong buttons over here.
You should have just done them in chronological order.
I don't understand why he doesn't just do them in chronological order.
I hate all of you.
You know what? I don't understand chronological. No.
Before we get into the episode itself, if you're enjoying the show, it really helps us out if you share the podcast on all the social medias out there. You can find us at Doyle Boys Pod on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Likes, shares, comments. Have you been TikToking, Steve?
I actually put up a TikTok about this specific podcast just moments before we recorded it.
Nice.
I went on a rant saying that the three of us, I'm probably the biggest Kanye fan right now. It used to be Andy was the biggest Kanye fan. Anyway, I went on this rant where I was like, I have to try to contain myself in this podcast. Because we're talking about my favorite thing doesn't mean that everything I say is right. You guys don't know anything about Kanye compared to what I know. So,
I mean, that's the whole premise of our arguments, isn't it? We all think we're generally right.
That's pretty much, yeah.
To a fault.
So yeah, and all those things, give us likes and shares and all that fun stuff along the way. You can also email us at doyleboyspodcast@gmail.com. Share anything you want and let us know how often Stephen is wrong about things, because he doesn't know his way around Kanye at all. Who knows what he's talking about?
Might as well be looking into a field of thistles now.
I did actually get schooled on Kanye just earlier on today.
Oh no.
I'm sure I have plenty to be wrong about.
So before we dive into the actual battles themselves, what didn't make it into the show this week?
I actually made a post on Reddit saying that we're going to do this podcast, and because of the format of the show, we can only do 8 albums, and that we'd already cut whatever Kanye's first album was. What's the first album called, Andy?
College Dropout.
The College Dropout, Steve.
Exactly.
I just read it.
That we'd cut that. And we're looking to cut one more of his 9 studio albums. And the only comments I got was, "You're an idiot for cutting that." And why don't you just make Jesus is King the best album now because you already have terrible opinions? It's like, okay, I'm just trying to live my life. You don't gotta come at me so hot.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's so then I assume they're immediately saying that Jesus is King is the worst album.
That is the general opinion of the internet, yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's why you don't go by the internet's opinion, because the Doyle Boys' opinion is the only one that matters.
Save it for the podcast.
The only reason that we cut College Dropout is because those first 3 albums have a similar enough theme. They're different in ways. If you're going to cut an album, one of those 3 is a good one to cut because they're all the college albums.
Yeah, I would say College Dropout is the least listened to of any of Kanye's albums, by me anyway.
Who would stab you in the neck for that opinion? Which other one did we cut then? Which other one didn't make the cut?
We also cut Yee.
Yeah. Oh my God.
My God, James.
Jesus.
Deducting points straight away. His name is Kanye. That's one of my
I fully intend on doing this throughout the whole show.
Just don't pretend that was on purpose.
What is Yee? That's how we pronounce Yee here in Ireland.
Yay.
I know, but you say Yee.
Hurry up with my damn croissant.
We say Yee. Hurry the hell up.
Anyway, the album is
too
too short. It's barely an album. It's an EP, like. It's not an album.
I thought I
an album if you call it an album, and he called it an album, and he's Ye, so we follow Ye.
So the way that we decided is we all take 3 picks, and then we all decide to agree on one that won't make it in.
They won't make it in, yeah.
So
we all agreed that Ye wouldn't make it in, so
you wanted to get rid of one. Stephen wanted to get rid of another one, so I had to pick one of those 2 to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one I really, really didn't want to get rid of, so I had to be Ye.
Yeah.
What was the one you didn't want to get rid of?
I can't remember.
It was late registration, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, late registration, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think me that probably want to get rid of that. No, I want to get rid of that or graduation. Late
registration and college dropout are probably 2 of his most similar albums, I would say. And late registration for me is better.
It's fair enough.
So we also didn't include, obviously, the like collab albums, like the Watch the Throne and the Kids See Ghosts stuff.
We also didn't include his unreleased. Like Jesus. We also didn't include any of his unreleased albums, which there's like very complete and good versions of, easily available on YouTube. You don't even have to search that out.
Yeah.
We didn't include any of them because I'm the only one that's listened to them.
That's true.
Wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, I listened to about like 5 minutes of TurboGrafx earlier today.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I'm gonna have to listen to that properly at some point.
Can you get it on the Spotify?
No, it's on the YouTubes. Illegal.
Do they play on the radio?
Oh, they don't play on the radio.
Pirate radio. Yar, matey.
Private radio?
No cap, but I can just send you all the unreleased albums if you want.
Can you?
Yeah, it's easy.
That's cool.
And now
on LimeWire.
That's it. Yeah, LimeWire.
Sure, let's go ahead and dive into the
Donda.
Oh, God, let's not Donda. Wait a second.
Donda.
We are going to talk about Donda.
Oh, what are you going to say now?
In the first battle of the rounds, it's Donda, chosen by Stephen, versus Yeezus.
I know, that's what we're alluding to by saying Donda.
Chosen by Andrew. I have to say what the battles are.
All right, yeah.
So what is it? Donda versus Yeezus?
Donda versus Yeezus.
Donda.
What is that Donda thing about? Like, what?
You listen to the album, James.
I've listened to it multiple times.
Okay. What is the Donda thing about?
Mother.
I know that, like, but the first song where the woman is just repeating Donda, like,
to get people to think in their
the Donda chant
that this is for Donda.
Also,
everything he has done is for Donda.
Okay, because I couldn't have picked that up from the last like 5 or 6 albums, you know.
The pattern that your one says Donda, Donda, Donda is also the rhythm of the opening riff to Jail, which is what it leads into. So it really grows. The album grows from there. Like everything comes from Donda. That's
well, I wouldn't say it grows from there. I would say.
What would you say?
It plateaus. It doesn't decline.
How many times did you listen to the album, Andy?
I would say 8 times now.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You think that the album doesn't improve when it gets to like songs like Moon?
I don't like Moon.
Don't like Moon, James.
I don't like Moon.
James, jump in on Moon there.
I don't have any strong opinions about Donda.
You don't have any strong opinions
I really
about
don't.
Donda. Hold on now. Shut your pie face. You're the referee here.
Yeah.
So just keep your pie face shut.
I'm listening to your arguments.
Yeah.
So
shut your pie face is what I'm saying.
Okay. Pie.
Okay, so the only songs that I like... Yes. I like 3 songs on Donda.
There's 24, you like 3 songs on the album.
It's too many songs.
And I should stab you.
What do you mean? Yeah.
What are the 3?
So Jonah.
Okay.
Believe What I Say, which is very old Kanye. Very, very, very good. And really well done. And then Jail Part 2, which is obviously a better version of Jail than Jail Part 1.
I like the first Jail. I haven't listened to Jail Part 2 enough.
Oh, Jail Part 2 is so much better. But I sorry. It feels like the whole album, there's lots of filler or something. There might be on a good beat, maybe, in a song, like every once in a while. There's a few good moments, but I failed to find any real meaning in it, in any part of the album. Like, even those songs that I do like, there's no real meaning in any of them. They're good and they're enjoyable to listen to. And my other hot point was there's too many stupid rappers. Too many stupid...
Lots of stupid rappers, that's true.
Well, too many rappers that are just not to my taste.
Well, I'm shocked that you have such a wrong opinion, to be honest with you. Because what you're talking about here is it's Kanye's magnum opus since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, the album exhibits so much of what's great about Kanye and everything he's learned about music over the course of a music career. Like, you have songs like, as you said, Believe What I Say, and other songs that have his old Chop Up the Soul kind of thing. You have songs with like synth
like
explosions. What? Believe What I Say was one example. You only know 3 songs. You can't like what.
But name another song that is like that.
It's hard to just pull out a song.
Look, can I keep going on my point?
Yeah, keep going.
Two people who are so wrong. Like, it's got a little bit of everything that's on all of Kanye's albums. And the point I had prepared was an album with 24 songs on it. Kanye West, you're going to be able to find you're going to be able to find 10 songs that you like. You've only found, like, did you even listen to Okay? Did you even listen to New Again? Did you even listen to Lord, I Need You, Pure Souls, Come to Life, No Child Left Behind, Keep My Spirit Alive, Jesus Lord, like Moon, Remote Control, 24. These are all smash hit songs.
Really?
That have so much texture to them.
I don't have that feeling about any of those songs. I'm sorry, but it's just that none of them are that good. I mean, I get what you're saying, why someone might enjoy it, because there's so much texture and there's a lot of different things happening in them. But for me, none of the things that are happening are that good. They're impressive, but they don't sound that good in my ear hole.
It needs to be good in your ear holes.
And so you think that the first 5 songs on Yeezus has sounds that if you put them in anybody's ear, they'll go, I like the sound of that excited, stabbing, randomly placed, jarring transitions. You think if you compare Donda to Yeezus has more pleasing ear sounds?
Oh, so we're trying to say what everyone else thinks is better, or are we saying what we think is better?
If you put Yeezus in your ears, think like if you play for yourself On Sight, the opening track of Yeezus.
Oh yeah,
it's so good.
So good.
Incomprehensible. Not the English language like that they're playing in your ears there.
I think On Sight, if you listen to On Sight and you get it straight away and you're just like, whoa, this is really, really interesting, it really grabs you, then you're grabbed for the whole album. And the whole album is so harsh and loud that On Sight just draws you in for the rest of how the album goes, I feel like.
I agree. I think like On Sight kind of sets the tempo for the album. In a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of really abrasive, like electronic and heavier kind of sound. You know what I mean? It acts as a good introduction, I think.
It is abrasive. That's how I would describe Yeezus. Like, I like Yeezus, especially 2 or 3 of the songs. But it's an aggressive, abrasive album. It's not an album
I would say Yeezus is
to.
Kanye's masterpiece.
2 masterpieces.
And like just the songs that are in it, like Bound 2 is unreal. Hold My Liquor is crazy good. I Am a God is crazy good. Black Skinhead is crazy good.
Yeah.
Like New Slaves is such an interesting take on like what I imagine it might feel to be like a successful black man in America.
Yeah, it definitely opened up and introduced concepts to me.
Which
a poor white Irish guy, the idea of what a rich black artist might be like.
Exploited artist.
It definitely did.
But that's the best thing for me about Kanye West is that I probably have no good reason. Not a lot of my friends listen to Kanye West, and I probably have no good reason to listen to Kanye West. But he always opens up something new to you in each album. You know, for The College Dropout, it was the first time I really liked listening to rap, and on every album there's something like that. But I just didn't get anything like that on Donda. There was nothing groundbreaking for me on Donda, I thought.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's groundbreaking about Donda is the whole project. The concept of the project is groundbreaking. To go into a stadium and have 3 listening parties and for the world to witness this process of making an album, to live stream yourself in a locker room, sleeping. And then the whole masks experience, hired random people off the street to go around in a circle. You know, the whole existence of the album as a work of art is groundbreaking itself. That responsible thing about groundbreaking.
You're not allowed to say anything. That's a good point.
That was me, not Stephen. He was saying it, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's probably one of my negative parts of some of Kanye's later albums. Like with The Life of Pablo, he like released it and then changed it, and you know, Yeezus, he was changing titles and things like that, and artwork and stuff. And it seems like he's doing them to obviously promote it. And obviously with Donda, it seemed like it was a great promotion campaign, but that's not something that I really appreciate.
Well, I don't think that he's doing it to promote it. I think that's how he makes it. But it's made like he wasn't in, like, you see an artist like Ed Sheeran who's probably hopes that he's on a similar level to Kanye in terms of popularity and stuff like that. So he's got an album coming out, and it's coming out in like 2 or 3 weeks maybe, or a month or 2 or something like that, and he's been promoting it for the last 2 months because the album's done. He finished the album in his little studio and all that, and he's been releasing the songs and recording videos, and it's kind of the traditional way that people do it. That's not the way Kanye does it. Nobody does it the way Kanye does it. The way he does it, or the way he's doing it this time, is he's saying, I want the energy to be on the album. When you think about Donda, it's actually a live album, because this, like, if you listen to it, it's totally live. So much of aspects of it, like, and some of the recordings that are on the final project contain the reverb in the arena that he was performing it in. Like, they're taking live recordings from that arena and putting it on.
Like, it's interesting,
which makes it a unique experiment in that way.
It's interesting, I think, but I think that's, I agree with Andrew that, like, I think that's for me a subtraction from the last couple of Kanye albums in terms of if it makes him feel a bit more rushed at the end.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
So 2 days stuck on this.
We had a little audio breakdown there, but I think we all made some good points, and I'm voting for Yeezus still. I'm sorry, you have failed to convince me on this one, Steve. How about you, Steve?
I'm of course voting for Donda. Yeezus is not really one of my favorite Kanye albums, even though it contains one of my favorite songs.
What's that?
Hold My Liquor.
Oh, such a good song.
Mike Dean has this awesome solo in it that goes
Yeah.
And when you listen to it with the headphones, it pans from left and right to the center of your head as the delay zips down, and it just
that's some good.
So
brilliant song.
It's a great Mike Dean album. Yeezus is.
On Sight is one of my favorite.
Not for me.
So
anyway,
as the arbiter, I think you both made some good points. The arbiter.
Abattoir.
What do you
do? Abattoir.
You cut down trees, is it?
Yeah. The arbor.
Well done, Andy. Didn't know if you had the linguistics there to pop one off.
I got them linguistics.
What are you saying to that, Arbor?
I think you both make good points. I don't think there was any clear winner from your arguments. You were both pretty passionate that you both love your individual albums. So I'm gonna go for Yeezus, simply because I think I have a valid reason. I think Donda is too new. And it's hard to judge any album as, like, the greatest when it's so new. Like, I remember thinking when Twisted Dark Fantasy came out, I thought it was Kanye's worst. I thought it was
right. Just say it right.
When that album came out, I thought it was Kanye's worst album, but it's not. I was wrong, like, because I was an idiot. But similarly, when Stadium Arcadium came out by the Chili Peppers, I thought that was their best album for months afterwards, and that is not their best album. I think when something is new, you can't judge it properly.
I will agree with you that I didn't particularly like Life of Pablo that much when it first came out, and it really, really grew on me. And I'm hoping Donda will, because then I'll get another great album.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going to go with Yeezus.
Is he just not talking to us now?
I think so.
He was texting.
Embarrassing decision.
I think that's a valid point. Would you not agree?
To an extent. To the extent that, like, it's hard to judge the impact that Donda's going to have as a musical item. There'll be no album comes out this year that has a scent on Donda.
What about
Well, let's
CLB
see.
boy?
Certified Lover Bitch. I did listen to it, and there was a live review on my TikTok of it, and it
We'll get
doesn't
to
come
it.
off well.
We'll get to it.
Okay, so Yeezus is the winner. That's fair enough.
All right. So next up, we have Graduation, chosen by me, versus Late Registration, chosen by Andrew.
James, we have not heard anything from your pie hole yet so much.
No.
So let's hear it.
So Graduation and Late Registration, two kind of like similar styles of Kanye. You know what I mean? The early days of Kanye, when it was all about samples and being a pop megastar. Steven's shaking his head there.
Disagree. I don't think they're similar albums.
Well, no, I think they're similar in nature and creative energy, in a way. But I think Graduation is like the evolution of that style. Like, I think Graduation is like...
I don't think he's listened to
it's
these
Late
albums,
Registration,
Steve.
but better.
I'm listening. They're just you're so wrong.
Like, Late Registration was the first album I got into as Kanye.
Right.
And like,
I think
even
we
going
all
back and
got
listening to it
one.
now, like, and even back in the day when I used to listen to it, like, the end of the album kind of just goes nowhere. The last few songs.
Of late.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. It's got Gone. It's got Diamonds from Sierra
Gone.
Leone.
Gone could be Kanye's best song.
Do you think so? Not at all.
Late.
What? Best song? No,
I love
it's
Gone.
really good. Like, Gone. It's,
At the
Hey
end
Mama
where
is also near the
Common
end of
comes
the album.
in. Late. We can make it better. Oh wait, no.
That's a great jam. Yeah, Late is a great jam. It hasn't got Common on it. There's a Common passed up on these beats, so I made it to a jam.
Diamonds from Sierra Leone. Is that near the end of it?
Yeah, there's two versions of Diamonds on the album. Like, why is there two versions of the same song?
Because it's a brilliant song.
I know, but like,
I'd listen to it twice.
I wouldn't though.
We can make it better.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
my
right,
god.
that is a bit odd. But you picked Graduation, not Late
Yeah,
Registration.
that's what I was about to say. I don't want to just tear down Late Registration. Graduation has some absolute classic Kanye hits, like Stronger. Is like,
It's the kind of album that's just hit after hit. Like the first
Yeah,
five
it
songs
really is.
are like hit.
they really are like.
6 until you hit Barry Bonds. They're like 6 super hits.
But even Barry Bonds is good. Like,
Oh no, I know it's good.
yeah, but I
it's a
agree.
bit of a dip though.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a dip in the album. Like,
But
I
I
think
think-
6. I think Can't Tell Me Nothing, Barry Bonds, and Drunken Hot Girls are a bit of a dip from the hard hitting of the first 5 tracks.
Yeah,
I really
but
like
then-
Can't Tell Me Nothing. I have to say.
I do too. You know what
just
I have
a
written
whole
down here? I
attitude.
have Can't Tell Me Nothing is like Andrew's anthem. Can't tell him to do anything, and he just wants to spend all his money on bling.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I agree. There's that,
Mr. West is gone.
there's that dip in the middle, but then like
Shorty's at the
the
door.
end of the album is so good.
You saying
know what I
that?
mean?
What are you wondering
I
about?
said Shorty's at the door because they need more.
Like,
Waiting for the last day something in this songs. They said sorry, Mr. West is gone.
Where were you?
So,
Sorry.
John, you were saying in the middle of the album there's a horrible dip, you were saying.
not a
This is the
horrible
album
dip.
you
There's
like.
a slight dip. There's the first like 5 or 6 is amazing. Then there's a little dip, and then the last 4 are amazing as well. Like, especially the last couple of tracks, like Homecoming is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the piano bit just randomly gets popped into my head every now and again,
Yeah.
as it is.
It's really, really
but
good.
it's the
piano
whole like
player.
story of his relationship with like Chicago and all that it's really cool lyrically. And then that follows up with Big Brother, which is probably one of Kanye's best songs in my opinion, about his relationship with like Jay-Z and everything. And
I've also
at
I
the
like
time-
that song because I've got 2 big brothers.
that's true. But at the time, like, that was in the world of rap. Like, this was this like emotional song that like rappers didn't do about like their relationship to their friends and like talking about them in an honest way and stuff. And like at the time, it was like groundbreaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and it's
I know-
become
I
much
know-
more common now. Like, this was like 2007, 2008. This album came out.
It was groundbreaking, but then he done it on Late Registration as well. So you know,
Nah, but
Where
not
did
in the
they do it
same
on
way.
late registration.
well, like he like opened his heart out, like Hey Mama and all, and Roses.
Yeah, but I was talking
Oh,
about his
it wasn't
mother.
about
I'm
his
talking about
broski.
like being open with your rapper friends, not just about like, oh, my mother. Every rapper talks about how much they love their mother. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
well,
not-
Kanye started doing it.
No, literally, like every
No,
rapper
I
since
think-
the 90s have been talking about their mother. But yeah,
that's
it's
great.
a good end to that album. Yeah.
A great review of the album. Andy, big up Late Registration there, because James made some great points about
Okay,
the big dip
okay,
in the middle of
okay,
Graduation.
Okay. So imagine you're Kanye West and you're fighting.
Oh, if only.
Do you like fish sticks? Right. So you're struggling. You're this great producer and you really want to rap. And no one thinks you're going to be any good at rapping. And then finally you get your chance to rap and you release your first album and it's amazing. And everybody loves it. Everybody loves how you sample these things and put on this chipmunky sound to it and stuff. And then for your second album, he had to change everything because he was sick of so many people copying him on his second album. That's how groundbreaking it was.
So groundbreaking, the previous album that we're not talking about was.
Previous album was, yeah. So then you change up your whole
that's a good
sound.
point.
You change
Never
up your whole
thought of
sound and you still make an absolute superstar album. That probably changes rap again.
Yeah, and arguably much, much bigger than his first album.
Yeah. Well, it's
Definitely,
probably more
Gold
broad
Digger
reaching.
Gold Digger sure is like the biggest.
Yeah, that was like a huge song. Here's another point. Do you know who drums? You know that drum bit in Diamonds from Sierra Leone? Wait, no, that's Drive Slowly. Do you know the drum bit in Diamonds from Sierra Leone?
Yeah, continue your points.
Do you know who drums that?
No.
Michel Gondry.
Really?
Yep.
No.
There's a point for you. That's another point that I had for that album. And also, there's no fillers on it. For me, there's no.
He's not credited on the album.
Okay.
Right, that might be a moot point there, Andy.
It might be
That's
a moot
not
point. I think it's a bit of a moot point myself.
It's not a moot point.
Can I also just follow up one thing you said? That there's no fillers on that album?
Yeah, there's no fillers.
There's two
literal
versions of
fillers.
Diamonds from Sierra Leone.
And they're both brilliant.
They literally have skits throughout
You
the
didn't let me
album that are
finish my
literal
sentence.
fillers.
The skits are the worst part of it.
I like the skits.
Oh, they have not aged well.
No?
No. It was very contemporary at the time, but
Okay.
But they're not aged well, Jim.
I just think they're just interruptions when you go back to listen to it. You know? They do tell a good little story about like Kanye's relationship with like the typical like African American like that is supposed to be like poor and everything, and how his childhood wasn't necessarily super poor. Do you know what I mean? And how he feels like he's just kind of playing into that a bit. That is interesting about them, but I think they don't necessarily. I just don't feel good when you listen to it. That's all.
Yeah, but Michel Gondry. How'd you get Michel Gondry
It's
as a
moot
rapper?
point. We said it's a moot point.
It's not a moot point. It's true. Imagine as a rapper getting Michel Gondry to drum on your lead single from your second to debut album.
Confirmed as factual.
Confirmed. And who's the biggest Kanye fan?
And didn't Michel Gondry and Mos Def have this whole? They're buddies. Like they made a film together and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's how he came in, because Mos Def. I'd imagine Mos Def must be on that album.
You'd imagine so, yeah.
But
yeah, I'm happy enough to go for a vote here now.
hold on now. You've both had chances to big up your albums, and James has said some things why he didn't like Late Registration. Do you have anything to say against Graduation, Andy?
I think the best thing I can say about Graduation
It's perfect.
to make you vote for Late Registration is to say nothing.
yeah, that's probably true.
Look,
What? Going into this, I was always against.
I have nothing bad to say about Graduation.
Right.
Right, well, I'm not changing my vote
swaying
anyway.
it out.
I'm Graduation all the way.
Going into it, obviously you're Late Registration, Andy. Is that fair to say?
Keep going.
Going into it, I was like always going to vote for Late Registration. I didn't even want to listen to Graduation. Over the last few days, obviously I went back and listened to all the albums. And I don't know, when you said there you can't find anything negative to say about Graduation, it's kind of making me think, sure, Graduation must be the better. For me, it's Late Registration because it's my first ever hip-hop album that I listened to, first ever Kanye West album that I listened to. It's not my favourite. Graduation is just like pussy music. Like, there's not a fucking pussy around. Like, Chris Martin, he's number one in the pussy crew. Like, not in the getting pussy, in the being one. So yeah, I'm voting for Late Registration myself anyway.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to vote for Graduation. I flipped myself.
You flipped yourself?
Stephen then flipped me even more when he said I can't. When I said I can't say anything bad about Graduation, I really can't.
What about all the times I just said pussy there and all the feminists are going to come after me?
That's really true. But it's groundbreaking again. It's like what I said about his first album. He made this amazing album. Second album, it was maybe a bit similar to the first album, but less chipmunky sounds. And then Graduation, he just switched it up crazily.
Okay, well, the vote was made.
I'm sorry.
So next up then, we have Jesus is King, chosen by Stephen, versus 808s and Heartbreak, chosen by me because it's fantastic.
Stephen, let's hear a rant about Jesus is King.
Let me see if I have any notes prepared, because this is when I was like, oh, I just don't want to be ranting the whole time. Years ago, Kanye said that the ultimate goal is to be like water, which is a reference to a movie quote. But you want the music to be like water, to wash over you and to be like sated by it.
Oh, you'll be like water.
Give you something good.
It's Bruce Lee.
And he literally has a song on the album called Water. And oh my God, the smooth bass synth on that, just bubbling in your ears, is just beautiful. Beyond that, some of the reasons that the album is amazing is Kanye's vocals on it, and his lyrical work on it is unbelievable. Like the song God Is, which is just Kanye singing with his lovely big gospel choir. It's just Kanye singing. There's no auto-tune. There's no nothing. And you get the impression that he's been singing all day. Then he recorded this version of him singing God Is. No, it's just very powerful. And there's a line in it where he says that he's been saved and he's not crazy anymore. And it's a real moment where you can hear this artist express the honest feeling of, I've been in the darkest depths. I've been crazy. You know, after Ye, he admits that he was crazy. He says, I've been crazy. Now I'm not crazy anymore. Okay, he's saying Jesus saves him, and I can't really get along with Jesus because I don't believe in magic. But something saved him. This chap feels good about it. So
yeah.
So it's just something that really a nice thing to hear from somebody.
Why didn't he write an album about psychiatrists and prescription medicine is king? Because I imagine that's what saved him more than Jesus.
When he was doing Sunday service, he was 7 months off of any medication. Hated the medication. He's on record as saying that he cannot make My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy level music while being medicated, because he has to have access to every part of him and his expression. Can't be dulled down by the medication. Which medication is great. If you need medication, take medication is great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the more powerful people. He can get away without it.
Yeah.
And that Kenny G saxophone solo.
That
saxophone.
But
but it's pure.
When we talked about these albums doing this topic last week, you very
James,
specifically said
I was wrong.
You said very specifically it's not a saxophone, it's a horn.
I thought it wasn't a saxophone, but Wikipedia probably knows more than me.
Yeah.
So look, I don't know everything about Kanye.
I don't know. Yeah. But yes, that Kenny G.
Exactly, and I didn't
solo.
know that fact about Michelle. Thanks for that information.
That Kenny G solo is badass. I love the way the song just goes and goes, and it goes to the Kenny G part, and it just cuts out all the rest of the music, and it's literally just the horn / saxophone, whatever it is.
There was actually early versions of that song. It was called Up From the Ashes before it was called that. Early versions that had drums underneath the solo.
Yeah. And
it's way better. You're so right. It's way better. Just let Kenny G ride. And the whole song just basically plays the melody that Kenny G plays in the first part of that solo.
What song is this on again? Sorry.
It's on Jesus King. Use This Gospel.
Use This Gospel.
But it's funny when you said it. I didn't know that or anything, Steve, but that's 100% what I thought was that when they were making that song, they probably had Kenny G come in and do this amazing bit on it, and then when they listen to it over and over, it's that needs to be just by itself because it works perfectly.
They just sampled them. They literally just sampled them. It's a real moment of magic.
Yeah, that's very interesting points about Jesus King. Have you any more to make about Jesus King, Steve?
Probably many more, but I feel like we'll be talking about this album for a long, long time. So,
can you tell me anything about 808s and Heartbreak?
808s and Heartbreak is the album that completely changed Kanye. When you talk about having to reinvent himself for the second album, this was the reinvention. This was after his mother died. This is after his big long-term relationship came to an end. So he was in this place where his whole life was completely different. And he dropped like there's still a bit of it, but he pretty much dropped the whole like sampling thing. Like it's much more like here's the beats and here's me singing. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And rapping, obviously, but like it's so like completely different, and it like changed again. It changed rap, like changed hip hop in like the best possible way. Like I think this is just a general comment, like, but between Graduation, 808s and Heartbreak, and Twisted Dark Fantasy, those 3 albums are like the most amazing like growth of any like artist across music, like in history, basically. Like 3 albums where like they have huge, big, massive changes, but like they're still all equally amazingly brilliant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And there's so many good songs on 808s. Like
just the start of it, say you will, just the start of it. And it's just
it's so the whole tempo of the album is so in such a sweet spot. It's such a comforting album to listen to, I think.
Say You Will's beat makes you feel like you're in that place of pain where you kind of just feel numb and you're not thinking straight or something. You know, we're just like in a tortured state.
Yeah.
That's what that feels like.
Yeah.
That beat.
And it's like the kind of the heartbeat. It sounds like a heartbeat monitor.
Yeah.
I always think of it as like it's like him he's in the hospital, like on life support, barely getting through life, basically. And that's kind of, there's a story to the album as well, like of coming out of that place and moving on to like getting on with your life, basically. Like, you know what I mean? And also the name, I was just thinking about it earlier. Like the name is so good because the whole album is like synths and beats. So synths are the 808s and heartbreak is the heartbeats, heartbreak. You know what I mean?
That's not it.
That's so good though.
That's a good.
I would say that if you listen to anybody who makes music nowadays, in the same ways that 5 years after the Beatles were making music, everybody played guitar. 5 years after 808s and Heartbreaks, or 10 years, I suppose it's been now. Every single person who tries to make music puts 808s in. It's standard. There's nobody who's not putting it in, like, of people who are up and coming, you know.
Talking about Certified Lover Boy earlier on, I said I'd listen to it earlier on, see could I compare it to 808s. Because it's like...
Why 808s?
Because it's kind of like a romantic album. I don't know if you listen to the song titles and all, but I said I just listened to
the whole album, yeah.
And all the synths and all. But it's just trash.
Some good beats in there. There's like 3 or 4 good beats, but then Drake comes in and ruins them.
Like when you talk about someone trying to open their heart and make real music, CLB is so much trash than 808s. I just wanted to make that point.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So.
Drake's album, Certified
Lover Boy. Drake. Supposedly there's beef between Drake and Kanye, and supposedly
Drake. Get out of here.
Never been into it myself.
That's some of my thoughts on 808s. Do you have anything bad to say about 808s? Because I just don't think that's possible.
Steve.
Let me have a look here. Oh, I have no negative points about 808s noted previously prior to this thing. I would say that 2 or 3 days ago, I was like, I wasn't filled with love for 808s. I was kind of thinking, yeah, it's got some good songs, but it's a little bit, the songs are maybe a little bit samey. At points, there's a very, he's using a lot of the same sounds for the whole length of the album. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. And also, hit after hit, not like oh, this was a single and this was a hit, but like it's a hit for me. Like and like for the longest time, this was my favorite Kanye West album.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Like, or none. Like it was just so good.
Do you have anything
negative you could say about Jesus is King?
I do.
Oh my gosh, he's got a lot.
I have a lot of positive notes about Jesus King, to be honest.
Years then.
Like, kind of a negative and a positive in a way is it's quite short, like, but it doesn't outstay its welcome. But also, there's just not enough Kanye. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, 808 is 12 songs. Jesus King is 11. So
yeah, no, It's not
moot point. That's a moot point.
That is a moot point.
Right, definite record.
So the main point is: do we really need to listen to Kanye talking about Jesus for a whole album?
I mean, Jesus really isn't my cup of tea.
I know, yeah.
Wouldn't really be my cup of tea.
As the son of
either.
Satan, I don't enjoy Jesus.
He mentions him in every single album in a lot of songs, if not you know, a lot of songs he mentions Jesus King. What's Kanye's first ever hit? Jesus Walks.
Yeah.
What's his second ever hit? The Workout Plan.
I think
talking about fake ditties and shit.
I think like if the album ended with Use This Gospel, it'd be a really strong ending. But the Jesus is Lord final track, I think
it's kind of a miss. That one isn't it? It is because it is short. It is only like, I don't know how long it is.
It's 50 seconds long.
50 seconds long. Like, and you're just left wondering to yourself, why, oh, why, oh, why?
Yeah.
And I would say the closest thing to a miss on 808 would be Pinocchio Story, which is also the last song.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like,
yeah.
Which is still pretty good.
Was a little bit like,
oh no, really?
When did you become a RoboCop? I mean, it's a groovy beat, like, but.
I was actually going to say earlier on, Stephen, what about RoboCop? Because I was thinking you'd really like it.
It is. The RoboCop is fantastic. Like, it's about trying to be something you're not. Like, do you know what I mean? It's about like trying to change.
It's about RoboCop.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's about like someone else wanting him to be a RoboCop, someone else wanting him to be something different than what he is, to be stronger or whatever than he actually is.
He got shot down by some thugs. Yeah. And then it turned out in the end, it was the dad from that 70s show who's the bad guy.
That's right.
So one of the things about that song being short and so on, all the songs on this, well, the vast majority of them, probably 6 or 7 out of the 10 or 11 that are on it, you can just set them on repeat. And they just repeat perfectly. There's not like a drop
I get you,
on the looper, and you can't do it with most songs. And you can do that with the entire album. You can leave it repeat, and when the final song ends, the first song picks up the beat again and carries through. Because the way that album was performed was that's what he was doing. He was playing the songs for like 12 minutes, for 18 minutes. He played one song for that long. They just jam on it. And then the final product is what we see.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. But one overall thing I'd say about Jesus is King that, like, I think as a negative is that all the previous albums kind of build on each other, and he's experimenting and trying new things. When it comes to Jesus is King, I feel like he's in some ways he's going back to kind of earlier Kanye. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like after Twisted Dark Fantasy, he couldn't repeat that. Because it was like this crazy great album. So he's tried like lots of new things. And I think he found comfort in like the whole God thing. So that let him go back to earlier stuff. So I think it's not quite as experimental as some of Kanye's other stuff.
That's an interesting way to look at it from someone who clearly has no knowledge of Kanye's journey as an artist.
Oh, sorry. I guess my thoughts and life experience are invalid.
Well, in this instance, if you're talking about...
I just don't agree that it's less experimental when he just wrote a gospel rap album. I don't like it.
But that's what Life of Pablo was. He said Life of Pablo was a gospel album with cursing.
Yeah.
But that's not true, though.
When I listen to it, I don't feel like it's a gospel.
That's what he said. I'm just giving you Kanye's words.
That's fair.
Kanye also said that slavery is a choice. Kanye says a lot of shit.
Kanye says a lot of things, in fairness. Kanye says a lot of things.
Yeah, I think we got to vote on this one, boys.
Sounds like a choice to me. And then he smiles and looks at everyone else in the room, and everyone else in the room is like, what the fuck did you just say? So funny.
It's like, remember that thing of like the Hurricane Katrina when he was presenting with Mike Myers?
Yeah.
And like,
that was good.
He just goes to the camera, George Washington or George Bush doesn't care about black people. Yeah. And Mike Myers is just like, I'm out.
He just keeps going with the script. It's hilarious. Kanye was right on that one.
Right, so you bros gotta make your votes.
I mean, 808's all the way for me.
Pretty even.
I'm going to go for Jesus is King because it's my favourite Kanye West album, but I know that nobody else in the world seems to think that.
I'm going to go for 808s, and I actually thought everyone else loved Jesus is King as well, but maybe it's just because that's how much you talk about Jesus is King, Steve. But 808s was probably one of my favourite albums ever for a long time.
How many times did you listen to Jesus is King?
I'd say 7 or 8 times as well.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
Well, there you go.
If I was lying, my face would be drooping.
Do you know I can see what you listen to on Spotify?
No. Why does that matter?
The last thing you were listening to was Yay album, which isn't even part of this debate. So you've been taking
I can still listen to music.
I still listen to music, but you're listening. Let's move on.
So next up, we have The Life of Pablo, chosen by Andrew, versus My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, chosen by me.
Losing the point for mispronouncing the name already. So Andy, you're one
never
ahead
can
of
get
James
that.
in this round.
I can never get the
Shit, I forgot to make
album.
notes about this.
You forgot to make notes?
Yeah.
Immediately.
Oh.
I have notes about Life of Pablo if you'd like some of my notes.
No, thank you.
Jim, tell me about Kanye's, what is widely considered his masterpiece, his magnum opus, and his greatest ever work.
That's exactly what it is. Like, it's again Kanye
crap.
reinventing himself.
I was supposed to say at the start of each topic, I was supposed to say, I think this is Kanye's masterpiece. I'm going to keep it going the whole bit.
All masterpieces. Let's be serious.
That's the thing,
All
right? We're arguing
masterpieces.
about like what are the best albums of all time. Some of the best.
They're all like 8 out of 10 at least.
At least, yeah. Like you said, it's again another complete reinvention of Kanye. Like this following on from 808s, like obviously 808s, he's in that like big emotional place of like the world changing and all that. And then Twisted Dark Fantasy is a few years later, he's kind of like released from all that in a way. And he kind of like disappears into himself, like, and pushes himself out to the max. And then also on this album, he discusses the whole like putting out the fake version of himself to make him feel more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like there's a line on I think it's the first track, but he says, "Me found bravery in my bravado." I think that's such a good line about his thought process in general. Like pretty much every song on the album is just a banger of a song. You know what I mean? Again, I don't think there's any bad songs on that album, really.
Or the skips on this album, Andy?
On My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't particularly like Gorgeous that much.
You don't like Gorgeous?
No. Devil in a New Dress is an absolute skip.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I just listened to it there, actually. Maybe it's not.
Wait till you
Hell
hear
of a
White
life.
Dress.
Hell of a
When you hear
life.
White Dress from unreleased Kanye stuff, it's like the opposite. It's like a response or a reply to Devil in a New Dress. Two
Alright.
songs that have to be listened beside each other. Wait till you hear it. So
Okay.
good. So much better than Devil in a New Dress.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, there's not that many skips on it, in fairness. But everyone keeps saying that it's his masterpiece. Like, everyone else says this is it. This is the
Everyone
one.
says this is the masterpiece, yeah.
But I don't get that. It's a really, really... Huh?
I always thought you thought Pablo was the masterpiece.
Yeah, Pablo is the masterpiece.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's out and out the masterpiece.
Give me some good things about Pablo, because I do not agree at all.
Every song is brilliant.
It is not.
It's like this whole time... Like, Pablo was like MAGA time, wasn't it?
No.
Alright. Let's move past that.
Here's my
And it
first
comes
point.
after-
Invalid.
It comes after Jesus is King.
The Life of Pablo is my favourite Kanye West album because I listened to it and I didn't like it and I was like, alright, that's me done with Kanye West. And I just couldn't get into it at all. And ever then I must have came back to it like a couple of months later and I can't believe how well it's aged.
Well, it was a different album when you came back to it, like, because that's the problem. He kept like changing the album like after it was released. That was a huge problem for me. Was like the album came out and it was like, oh, he's changing it, and I was like, well, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to it for a few months then. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't actually go back and listen to it properly until like it was finally settled into what he wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. I think that was the start of just slippery slope of Kanye being like, oh, I'll do everything like the day before I put it out.
What do you
Yeah.
respond to that, Andy? Because that's a somewhat valid. I can see the logic in that criticism.
Yeah, that's a decent point, but I mean, you can kind of understand what he did because you listen to the album now and every single moment on it is absolutely perfect. And there's not one dull moment in the whole entire album. Like, honestly, I love this album so much. I'm actually finding it hard to put into words. Like, if you just
That's
go
how I
through
was
this,
with Donda.
That's going to be
Really?
bad for a podcast.
if you just go through it, like Ultralight Beam, just the way it kicks
Ultralight
in,
Beam.
Ultralight Beam is
Like,
the hit of that
and the
album.
singing in it is just unreal.
I've nothing bad to say
I
about
love the
Ultralight
hit of
Beam.
the album. Like you have songs like
Father, Stretch
Brave.
My Hand.
Fuck My Life Up, Real Friends, Wolves, even Frank's little shitty track.
Wolves isn't
Awesome,
good
like.
though.
What?
I don't like wolves.
You don't like wolves?
No, I don't like wolves.
You don't like the sample in Wolves? Andy, let's do the sample in Wolves now. Go. I'm not going to do it because it's too hard. But it's so good. Oh, they're like...
Oh, yeah. I was like, is that what it
Can't do
means? And I didn't.
I'll chop that in.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Like, I can...
What if Mary was in the club, but she met Joseph around Hella Tugs, Cover-Nori and Lambswell were surrounded by the fucking wolves?
I thought you didn't like the Jesus stuff.
That's not about Jesus. That's about Mary.
That's saying Kanye is Jesus. He likes Yeezus. He likes God complexes because he has one. He just doesn't like complex shit about God.
No.
Yeah.
But like, Ultraviolet Beam, right, is literally the only song I'd be able to name off the album.
Well, I really don't think you've listened to it enough, honestly.
I have listened to it
like either. Tell me this, Jim. One of the big criticisms that we have all had of many musicians and albums that we listen to is when an album is overproduced. Sometimes we go, "Oh, yeah, it's a good album, but it's overproduced." Like, I think that could be a criticism of My Beautiful Dark Fantasy.
I think that's a brilliant point. I think that's why I don't like it as much as The Life of Pablo.
I don't,
because The Life of Pablo is just raw, pure energy the whole way through.
Album. Yeah.
And that's what I like about music.
Yeah, I get you, but like, I don't think that's as critical with Kanye, because like a lot of what draws me to Kanye is his like more complex productions, and like his lyrical content is so good and well thought out. And I think when it's rawer, it's raw. When he's roaring around the place like a tiger, it's not necessarily as refined and good. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's what draws me to Kanye, and I think that's... I could see the argument of Twisted Dark Fantasy being a bit much of that maybe, but I don't agree at all, because there's so much goodness in Twisted Dark Fantasy.
Also, My Dark Twisted Fantasy has Runaway. Runaway is like Thriller. Runaway is like Stairway to Heaven. Runaway is like one of the great Kanye West songs. I don't know if there's anything quite the level. I don't know if there's anything quite the level of Lost in the World, but I don't know if there's anything quite the level of Runaway on Life of Pablo. I mean,
Lost in the World is so good. Like,
so good. I love Justin Vernon, or whatever his name is, Bon Iver, all that shit.
Bon Iver, yeah. That song was what led me to like listen to his stuff as well. Like, and his album, like 22 A Million, is fantastic. Like,
it's crazy.
It's so crazy. Yeah, have you? Oh, you should listen to that. Like, it's so well produced again. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you like it because it's wild, man. Like, it's a crazy album that makes no sense.
It is wild and crazy, but it's really good when you get into it. Again, another album that like Goody turned me on to.
What a shocker.
As well.
See, what I want to do is to win this round. And if I want to win this round, I just need to go through each track on The Life of Pablo and bring it to the one best moment in the track, which could be the best.
We don't have time for that.
We don't have time for that.
I know we don't have enough time for that. What I'm saying is there's no Runaway. Okay, I give you that. Really brilliant song. And a lot of them are really, really good songs. But none of them have moments that are as good as The Life of Pablo. Because it's just pure genius.
Not agree. I do not agree at all.
And The Life of Pablo is all Kanye.
Yeah.
Like, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was like this.
So, like, Frank's song is all Kanye. Frank's song is all Kanye.
Yeah.
Was it? Because it sounds like it's someone else.
But he produced it.
Oh, so it's not all Kanye.
But he produced the
Frank's
song.
is...
Oh, did he not produce these songs on Twisted Dark Fantasy, no?
Not all of them. Not all of them.
But, like, I think that is a moo point if ever I heard one.
I don't think so, because this is like a group project. This was a group project.
What was a group project?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
All group projects, bro.
Yeah, they're all like,
group projects.
No,
I don't agree with your. I think you're a moo point. You're just mooing it up.
Go back to Andy's point of you mostly hear Kanye's voice on this. That's true. It is true that you mostly hear Kanye's voice.
Yeah, that was my
other
point.
Stuff just got featured verses. But Jim, a big problem with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy's greatest song, or many consider greatest song, Runaway, is Kanye goes, "I sent this bitch a picture of my dick."
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? You can't be sending bitches a picture of your dick,
no,
can you?
obviously.
That's wrong.
What else are you going to send him?
Don't send him at all. And Andrew, stop sending me pictures of your junk. That's a big problem. And Pusha T, what's he on about? Pictures ain't ever seen Versace sofas.
Hang on now. You're saying you're saying like it's unsolicited.
It's problematic.
Why is it problematic?
No, I get what you're saying, but I think
I sent a picture of my dick.
I think
it's not the right. It's not good words to my ears.
He was saying he's not too good at females.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's apparent.
But I think that's part of the like persona Kanye's putting out on this album as well. Like that feeds into that thing again of the me found bravery and my bravado at the very first song on the album. Like,
I don't know if it's a persona. I think it's just how he is. Like,
yeah, I know, but it's amping it up for public viewing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even think Runaway is the best song on the album. Like, I think
what's your favorite song?
Either Power or Monster. Power is so good because again, it's all about the whole like, I'm so powerful, I'm amazing and great, and then the last couple of verses of the song is about like, I'm going to jump out this window and die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
It's like, here's my front, but actually, I kind of want to kill myself.
Yeah, see, it's hard to like Power because it's such a big hit.
It is such a big hit. That's the thing. Like,
Stumpy is enjoyable.
It's one of those things where it's like subtly like it's this big massive hit for the music, but then like it's actually if you listen to the lyrical content, like it's like,
yeah. There's a lot of that with Kanye, in fairness.
All right, we're ready to pop off a vote here.
Yeah, Twisted Dark Fantasy, my vote all the way.
Yeah, you still haven't swayed me. It's Patrick Swayze.
It's going to be Stephen to decide, I think.
You're voting for Pablo, Andy?
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm voting for Pablo too.
What?
Any grounds or?
Give me a reason. You need a reason for this because
just give me a reason.
Dark Twisted Fantasy is literally the best Kanye album.
The Life of Pablo.
Disagree with that. Don does the best Kanye album. So I think The Life of Pablo is the most like Donda, and it's the most
trash.
Like Kanye is moving through his art. He's becoming a more fully fledged and capable artist, and you see that in The Life of Pablo. That's why I prefer it. Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy obviously is amazing, but it's so well produced. I'm just like, oh my god!
This whole bracket thing is completely invalid now. I don't care about any of the rest of it because you're all wrong. So,
did you get any show? You got? Well, you know what's interesting? Stephen is saying he's the biggest Kanye fan, and none of his made it to the
that is
final.
That's because you bunch of noobs don't even understand. Michelle,
there you go. That's the end of our first round. And with that, we need to take a little break from arguing and take a little trip to Knucklebutt's hole. Knucklebutt.
Well done, Jim. To proving that you actually listened to the album.
See?
Oh, that was on a Kanye album?
So for Knucklebutt Sounds of the Week this week, we're not only going to the Sounds of the Week, we're going all the way down under New Zealand to a band called
Why did they say it like a heel in a wrestling show?
You better recognize we're going all the way down under to New Zealand to a band called Outside In. Suppose you kind of call this band prog rock, but they're like a mixture between my ears, like Radiohead and Tool. That's what they kind of sound like to me, a mixture between those, which is a pretty saucy little mixture. I'll admit to being friends with the singer in the band. All right, okay, it's a little friend promotion. Deal with it. So we're going to hear a little snippet of the opening track from their most recent album. The song is called Let Me Go.
Let me go right now because I need to go. So let me go.
That was Let Me Go by Outside In. We'll leave a link to their stuff somewhere and you can click on it if you like the sound of the thing. And if you even didn't like the sound of it, click on it anyway. Show them a little love.
Exactly.
Very good band. And if you want to be featured on Knucklebutt Sounds of the Week, fuck off.
Fuck you.
I am still so salty about Twisted Dark Fantasy not being included.
Well, I mean, you couldn't pronounce it. You had like 5 opportunities
I don't care
to say
about
the
that.
name of the album and you couldn't say it right.
I still didn't say it right there either.
That's a fact.
So
Talk about a moot point.
So let's move on then to the second round.
I feel like milking
Where
you.
we
You're
need to
making so many
argue
moot
about-
points.
Are we in the second round and you don't have any of Kanye's best albums in this round?
I mean,
it doesn't
4 of
make
them are
any
there.
sense.
At least 2 of them are there.
Yeah, 4 of Kanye's top 10 albums are there. That's true.
Well, what are we arguing about this round? We're arguing about Yeezus, which was originally picked by Andrew, versus Graduation, picked by me.
Yeah.
First of all, it's pronounced graduation.
Congratulations.
I've been hunting high and low to try to find demos and alternate takes of songs from Yeezus. Because when there's this great story when Kanye made the album, he happened to meet Rick Rubin, I think. You know that crazy Jesus looking dude? He met Rick Rubin and they were like chatting, saying, hey, what are you up to? What are you up to? And Rick Rubin was like, oh, I'm working on this project, but it's about 3 or 6 months away from release. You know, there's a lot more work to do. And Kanye's like, oh yeah, I've been working on a project too, and it's about 3 or 4 weeks away from release. And they're like, okay, cool. So Kanye played what he had for Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin said it was about 2 hours, I think, maybe 3, of songs, and I'm doing quotes here, songs, mostly instrumental, and Rick Rubin's ears, it was a long, long way from being finished. And from that, Rick Rubin helped him reduce it down. So I want to hear the shit that Kanye thought, oh yeah, I'm like 3 weeks from releasing this. And it's
Yeah.
a fucked up shit. That's what
So
I want to really hear.
That's a good point, because I think that's something I was going to say about Yeezus. Yeezus is the starting point of that issue of Kanye doing things at the last minute. Do you know what I mean? I think
There's a lot of
Yeezus,
drugs then, yeah.
Yeezus, it squeezed through and was perfectly fine because Yeezus is a fantastic album. But then because that was perfectly fine, Kanye was like, oh sure, I'll just do that every time now. And then you end up with Life of Pablo, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you knew the unreleased albums that he said, oh, I'm doing this album, oh, I'm doing this. He's announced Yeezus too loads of times.
Yeah,
Andy was like so close to being done, it never came out.
Yeah.
So can you listen to Andy?
I wonder, are we going to get them in like 20 years?
That's
Like,
Andy, I got you.
You go.
They're even more raw than the Life of Pablo.
no.
So one of my favorite moments of Yeezus is, just give me 1 second here, sorry. It's hard to think of the names of songs.
I just have them all up in front of me from when I opened tabs of them earlier on today when I was preparing for the show.
So my favorite song is I'm In It, because it's really harsh, because it's about like dirty stuff and boobs and stuff. So I just think it connects with the whole album, that it's so harsh and crude and it's in your face. So it's blasting you for the whole song. And then the song ends and Nina Simone starts singing. That's like such an unreal moment. Like to transition from that to Blood on the Leaves is just, because the whole album is you're on site, you're black skinhead, I am a god, new slaves, hold my liquor.
I can read the track list too, yeah.
You know, but it's like all these bombing, loud, harsh music. And then just to transition into Blood on the Leaves so quick.
So then what you're saying there is Blood on the Leaves is the good song.
No, I'm telling you my favourite moment.
I think I'm In It is like the worst song on the album, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just like, hey, isn't sex great? I was like, well, yeah, we know.
Fuck, it is though.
Yeah, I know, but it's like...
See,
not
James,
news.
your opinion
lights off.
doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. I thought our podcast was all about our opinions. But I do like I think the first half of the song isn't very good, but the second half, it gets a lot better.
I'm going to tell you now, whoever thinks that Yeezus is going to win this round, you got a seriously tough battle on your hands here.
Sure, we'll just wrap it up then. So, I'll be happy to get Graduation through.
So
You think Graduation is the better album, James? That's actually a Rick and Morty reference. I will have put the sample in there. Okay.
Nice. Rick. I'm Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty. Graduation. Yeah, Graduation is fantastic. Like, I think it's the pinnacle of like the early kind of sampling Kanye. Do you know what I mean? Of that kind of style. I think it's like when he got to the highest point of it and then completely changed on 808s to a different and more better Kanye.
I think Yeezus has.
There's no song that Kanye has that he does not use a sample on. There's no song.
No,
he does not have a song that he doesn't use sampling on. I don't know how you can say that that's the pinnacle of it, because he continues to sample on every single song.
I don't know how you can say that about the album.
No, but the way he samples, the way I know he's just buttering you up like the way he samples on the first 3 albums, I think, is very different to how he uses it later. You know what I mean?
True, yeah.
You know what? I think Yeezus is my favorite album. Honest to God, I think it is.
I thought Life of Pablo was.
I was when we were talking about it, but that's the problem. They're all so goddamn good.
Yeah, they're all very good.
Yeah,
Yeezus is the one I have the most trouble with because it's the most violent. And I just, when I see or experience violence, I just hands up and I go, oh, no. None of this violence monarchy now.
But violent for Kanye is very different to like violent for like hip hop in general. You know what I mean?
I think this is more violent than anything out there. Like, obviously, all that hip hop, gangsta, rap shit nonsense. I couldn't listen to 2 seconds of it. That's why Pusha T is such a big problem, because he comes in and he starts on about selling kilos and all. Shut up, Pusha.
Push away there. Push away.
Push away there. Push a cup of tea over to me. Calm down, son.
Go downstairs. Sleep on the sofa.
So yeah, Andy, is there any reason why I should be thinking to myself that graduation is not all it's cracked up to be? Apart from having to listen to Chris Martin for more than 5 seconds.
No, there's no reason you should think that. But I think, as an album, Yeezus has had so much more influence on the music of today than Graduation.
Do you think so?
I think rappers are still trying to copy Yeezus.
Who's making stuff that sounds like what we heard on Yeezus? I have 2 picks, but you tell me.
Tell you what. You tell me.
No, because the 2 people I think that are influenced by the sort of oral aggressiveness
Post Malone
is Tyler, the Creator. He makes some very dark sounds.
Absolutely.
And obviously Earl Sweatshirt, who kind of is the most extremely dark and twisted of the Odd Future collective that I've experienced.
I recognise the name Tyler, the Creator.
Tyler, the Creator is really good, but a lot of it is very violent.
Very violent kind of stuff for such a lovely chap. Lovely chap.
There's music that attacks.
Me, that's not a plus to Yeezus because I don't really like their music.
I don't think Yeezus was as influential as you're making it out to be.
No,
I think, like I said, the argument I made about Big Brother and how that was kind of like rappers talking about their friends in like positive ways and stuff. I think that was much more groundbreaking than anything on Yeezus.
Yeah, but Stephen said that Graduation is music for pussies. Yeezus is music for action men.
Right, well, what?
Yeezus is music for fucking rapists.
Oh, Yeezus is so good. I think it might be my favourite album. It's definitely his masterpiece.
It's definitely not his masterpiece. It's an experimental moment, which is great. I think the thing that Yeezus has for me in favour over Graduation is those first 3 albums. They are what this says on the tin. Like, it's him dropping out of college and seeing what do you do. You know, it's late for class. It's learning his skill and his trade as an artist. Then after that, he graduates and he makes 808s and Heartbreak.
Yeah,
like on Graduation, the opening track, he says, "This is the dissertation." Then he goes, "If I'm thinking, you know, I'm in college and I'm doing the whole thing, this is my saying, oh, this is how music is made and this is how it's done on my study of music." After you graduate, that's when you make art. After you leave college. And so I think Yeezus is a work of art. Graduation is a study of music. And for me, I'm ready to vote. I vote Yeezus in that sense.
Absolutely, I agree.
You're a Yeezus man too?
Oh, absolutely.
I'd probably go for Yeezus too, to be honest. Like, what? I think this is unanimous. I love me some Yeezus. Like,
how did Yeezus win and nobody could say anything bad about Graduation?
Because
it's music for pussies. That's it.
Because literally, Stephen, like you said,
that was the one bad.
Like you said, Yeezus is a piece of art. Graduation is a collection of really good and really well produced songs and some fantastic songs on there. But Yeezus as a whole stands together as like
an absolute moment.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I don't get a lot of the stuff on Yeezus. I respect it. I respect it.
I can't believe I've won.
Whoa, you won the semi-final. not the whole thing. Like,
I know that, but I didn't think I was going to win. The whole thing, Stephen kept telling me that Yeezus wasn't going to win.
I actually didn't think it was going to win until it popped into my head. Oh, wait a minute. This is a fucking work of art.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I was like, oh, yeah, actually it is. Like, respect that. Like,
so the other semi-final we have is 808s and Heartbreak versus Life of Pablo. And I do not know how you can make an argument that Pablo is better than 808s.
Right.
Because 808s changed hip-hop.
I don't know anything about hip hop, so I can't say
hip
that
hop,
for
rap,
a fact.
whatever you want to think. Changed Kanye's career. Changed everything.
Yeah, I'll give you that, but The Life of Pablo? No, this has worked for me before, so I'm going to try it again. The Life of Pablo is a work of art.
If anything is a work of art, 808s is.
No, if anything is a work of art, it actually is The Life of Pablo.
808s is like I said, 808s tells a story. Like Kanye has tried to do that again, like of telling a story through an album. 808s is where he tried to do that the first time. Sorry, Steve.
It's Pablo Picasso, James. It's literal art.
It's Pablo Picasso, Pablo Escobar,
and
Pablo, some saint guy.
St. Paul.
Yeah, that Paul, him.
I don't think you can make the work of art argument on these because the point was that after graduation, that's when he starts making art. Both of these come after graduation.
Yeah, so I think every album after that point is a collective piece, basically.
Moo.
A moo point. I am very amused.
I'm very amused.
Andrew, you're furiously Googling some points to make here.
The Life of Pablo is the best sounding album, apart from Yeezus, of all of his albums. I mean,
best, like, sound engineering or whatever you might say.
Sound engineering.
That type of stuff.
I think it has the most moments of ingenuity for making beats and drops of any of his albums, bar Yeezus, which is going to be the eventual winner.
Potentially. I go along with that. Hopefully. The problem I think one of the problems with Life of Pablo is it's kind of a disjointed album.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like to me it's a collection of songs were made over a period of time. Whereas 808s and Heartbreak kind of a vision realized of songs that are all sort of
the same
thematically, and that's one way of putting it. Yeah, songs that have a very kind of samey vibe to them.
I don't think they do have the same vibe.
When you go back and listen to it,
you're talking about an album. I want to say like the album is the thing. The album is a body of work.
Mm-hmm.
There's The Life of Pablo is a body of work in a complete different sense. But they're both different ways.
So they're both bodies of work.
Yeah, so they're different in that way that 808s and Heartbreak is one idea realized.
I know, but like if you listen to 808s and Heartbreak and then you listen to Life of Pablo,
you're like, why did I stop listening to the first album?
One of them is better, and it's The Life of Pablo.
Yeah,
no,
808s is too samey.
It's not at all.
Obviously, like The Life of Pablo feels fresher still to this day.
Yeah.
Because
Life of Pablo could be released tomorrow and it would still be...
Oh, that would be the greatest album of the year, hands down.
Absolutely
better than Donda.
Absolutely not.
And maybe it would be better than Donda, actually. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. It would. I prefer Donda.
I haven't.
But now that you say it, Life of Pablo is so good. Like, it's got so many sounds on it, like Ultralight Beam, Chance's verse on Ultralight Beam. Waves, nobody even talks about it. Chris Brown, come over here and beat me, sir.
Someone let Chris Brown hit me.
As someone who doesn't like Jesus is King, right? Chances is responsible for Kanye being Jesus and King. Because Chances was like Chances.
You keep saying Chances. Who's Chances?
I don't know who Chances is. I meant Chance. I think I was Scott Jumper Chances stuck in my head.
From like the podcast 6 weeks ago.
No, sorry, Chance the Rapper.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, Steve.
His whole thing is doing like God music, and his stuff is fantastic.
What? His whole thing is taking acid, man.
Well, no, my point is, like,
your point is Moo.
It's not Moo, because his whole like
Moo.
He opened the door for Kanye to be able to do Jesus is King.
Oh, Kanye opened the door for Chance the Rapper to be able to wear polo necks.
Yeah, and a cap with 3 on it.
Chance is Kanye, and Kanye is Jay-Z. That's their relationship. The same as Big Brother, where Jay-Z gets all jealous because Kanye is getting really good. Kanye was biting Chance's style for Jesus is King. That's what I think.
Tell you what, Go listen to the lowlights, then listen to the highlights, then come back to me.
One of them I don't like as much as the other, but I don't know which one it is.
I want to know right now if you're freaking out on love. And then you have I Love Kanye on it. If you ever could take a hot take about yourself.
Yeah.
I Love Kanye is probably the second best song on the album.
Like, Kanye is doing this whole, the whole thing where he was like, MAGA, and he was like, I want to meet George Bush and all. Mm-hmm. Like, I always thought
that the MAGA period? Was that the MAGA period?
I'm not sure.
Really
but like,
either.
his whole persona, sometimes, where he says these outlandish things. Sometimes he is persona. Outlandish. But he's after stopping my train of thought now. Yeah, the whole make
not hard to do.
Shut up. When he's wanting to meet Donald Trump and all.
Yeah.
Like, I feel he was taking the piss out of everyone constantly.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, oh yeah, this is what you want me to do. Oh yeah, I'm going to go make America great again. Oh, I'll go meet Donald Trump. And it was working. Because everyone was being tricked into him and being like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing that. And he's just like, oh, so you want me to act like this, so screw you. Fuck you, you don't get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think Kanye was, I don't think he was playing tricks on the world or anything. I think he was literally just going, let's make America great again. Have you listened to his song, Ye versus the People?
What album is that on?
The on an album. It was just him and I can't remember the name.
Then no, because I am a true fan. I don't bootleg things.
It's not bootleg. He released it.
Are you telling people to pirate this podcast episode?
No, it's not pirated. It's on Spotify. This one's not pirated. Him and I can't remember the name of the fucker rapping against him. But the guy comes in and he's like, Kanye, you're doing all this MAGA shit and you're letting everybody down, and it's just wrong what you're doing. And Kanye, they have a rap battle. Yeah. And Kanye lays out his reasons for doing things. And the reason he wore the MAGA hat was, yes, there's a bit of that, people are saying, if you're black, you have to vote Democrat. So he put on the hat and said, I'm not going to just vote Democrat because I'm black. I'm going to show everybody you can do whatever you want. Color doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. You can have true belief and true feelings to whatever you want. A lot of what Donald Trump was saying, people were identifying with, let's make America great again. Fortunately, if you don't have bipolar disorder, you don't realize that making America great again means let's go back to the 20s when black people were treated poorly.
Yeah.
More poor than they are now.
So what was the name of that song again that you're telling me about?
The song that has...
Yay versus the people.
That's anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Where do we fall on this
listeners,
album?
The people here, the two people I'm fighting. T.I. Oh man, T.I. He's so good about it. He's so good in that song.
I do remember that song being good, but that's not. We're not going to listen to it now.
All right, let's move on then. Stephen, I'm voting like Pablo. What's your vote, James?
808s, because 808s is like the album that completely changed Kanye and made him what he is now.
No,
all completely changed him. They all completely changed him.
Life of Pablo did not. The only change it did was in a bad way of like the production rushes and things like that.
I thought you said Yeezus was the beginning of that.
Yeah, Jesus was the beginning.
He's making a move
Yeezus
point.
was the beginning of it. And then Life of Pablo was when it got really bad.
He's making move points versus move points.
He released an album.
Like a dairy farm in here.
That wasn't in any way finished. And then he just kind of mucked around with it. And then he was like,
just so you know, you're arguing that on 808s and Heartbreak, which literally the whole plan was to have the 3 college albums and then to have a 4th album called Good Ass Job, which he told everyone he was going to bring out. And then instead of bringing that out, he brought out 808s. That was the beginning of Kanye's fuckery with album launches.
Yeah. So that's fine. No, that's fine. But 808s wasn't like thrown together in the last 2 weeks.
Nor was Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo. Some of those songs were around for a long time before they came out.
That's fine, but like some of them were like...
And 808s was literally recorded in 3 weeks.
Some of them weren't finished for like 4 months after the album came out.
Some people record Water for only 10 days. Some people record The Life of Pablo over the course of 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, that's fine. But then wait till the album's done to put it out.
Like, I know what he's making one.
Even just vote, goddammit. He's
trying to make a point here and he's making an empty argument and he's arguing really good. It's like, when we play these board games against him where he has when he tries to convince you that he's not the one lying. This is what he's doing now. Because in his heart, he knows The Life of Pablo is better.
It's not though. I'm
voting for The Life of Pablo. I know.
Oh my God.
Boom.
I'm furious.
I am. That's on the Imperium.
What got through into the final then? Is it Yeezus versus Life of Pablo?
Yes.
What up?
Two Andrew picks. How the fuck when he knows nothing about Kanye?
Why would you pick Life of Pablo over 808s? Why would you pick Life of Pablo over My Dark Twisted Fantasy? I hate everyone.
You still haven't said the name of the album right.
I literally looked at how it was written. I was like, no, I'm going to say it wrong on purpose.
I'll give you that the Life of Pablo versus My Beautiful Twisted Dark Day that's contentious. That maybe would have went either way. But Life of Pablo versus 808s.
Like new Kanye is
Right.
way better.
I'm
than
so
old
annoyed
Kanye.
I can't go into the next conversation
I
yet.
like
Just
the
get
new
me
Kanye
into fucking Andy's corner and entertain me. God damn it.
Andy's Corner.
Okay, so this week in Andy's Corner, we know how. Look, we all know.
Off to a great start as always.
We all know how we like to get to know each other better.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we, Steve?
I'm feeling like I wish I didn't know you at all.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a pop quiz.
Oh no.
All right. So it's going to be, as this podcast should have been called, That, This or That.
Oh god.
And there's going to be
That,
two
these or
options. And you have to say your preference and Stephen has to say his preference. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to try to score points. And you're getting points off if you agree with me.
Okay, let's do the first thing because
nice and
whatever
quick.
you said makes no sense. So let's see the first one. We'll see how it goes.
Right. This one's easy, right? Coke or Pepsi? Has to be quick.
Coke.
Coke.
Pepsi. So none of you would have got a point.
What?
None of you would have got a point there. Look, I'm just
I
saying
see,
for
I
talk's
see.
sake.
I've got a
So
can of
really
Coke right here that you gave me.
Alright, because that's your favourite. It's not my favourite.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right, there's only like 7 of them, so
Okay.
they're not that hard.
Okay, cool. Fire
They're
them
not
off.
hard. Right, winter or summer?
Sure.
Winter.
James, point for James. Black or white?
Back.
White.
White.
Because you are white.
Don't bring race into it. I knew
Oh,
it.
race thing,
I
Jim. It's a
knew
colour
it.
thing.
He's sitting there in full black.
I'm just trying to
It's
get
not-
in your headset. Mindset?
Right. Now, it has to be quick now, your answers, right? You can't be thinking now, which one am I
James.
going to pick?
We'll go
Don't we
first
look-
this next couple of times.
Don't be looking at me either. Stratocaster or Telecaster?
Telecaster.
A caster.
Telecaster?
Yeah.
You don't pick Telecaster.
I'm picking what you're going to pick. I think that's the point.
No, oh, you ruined it.
I thought we're supposed to pick what we like.
Yeah, you have to pick your favourite and you get a point if you agree with me.
Oh. Oh yeah, well then Stratocaster. Telecasters are garbage.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
Telecasters are garbage, but I know Andrew prefers them.
know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Up
That's
until
what-
now, all
so that was a
points have
point for
been moved.
me. That's a point for me, right.
What is this?
Right, next one. Zombies or
Why do you
vampires?
get a point?
Buyers.
Zombies or vampires?
Zombies.
Vampires is, yeah. Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Driver. See the future or change the past?
See the future.
The past.
See the
Do you
future.
see the future? I prefer to see the future.
Yeah.
Then you're already in the past, changing it from baseball to the future.
Alright, that's 6 points for Steve. Time machine or magic wand?
Magic wand. Time machines don't
wand.
work.
What?
You can use the magic wand to get a time machine.
Time machines
But
don't
also
work.
everything
You can't
else.
change time.
Magic wands don't work, James.
Don't they?
Poor and happy or rich and miserable?
You're miserable.
Rich and happy, please.
Rich and miserable it is. Stephen wins by a landslide, 66 acorns.
Yay. I was so
Right.
confused by that. I don't know what I was supposed to achieve. What that
That's
was.
it. That's the end.
That's
Let's
it.
stop talking
Let's
about it.
okay, let's move on.
No more Andy's
Okay.
corner.
On to the next
Fine.
week.
Sure, then let's dive into the final. The final of two albums.
Final.
The two albums that shouldn't even be here. Yeezus, chosen by Andrew, versus Life of Pablo, chosen by Andrew. How is Andrew
So who's
the like best Kanye person?
So I'm going to be the referee for this final. So Jim,
Okay.
you argue for Yeezus. Steve, you argue for Life of Pablo. And I'll pick
with
whichever
that
one I was going to
because I
pick right now anyway.
I will not be voting for Yeezus. No way. I will not be swayed toward Yeezus. I know that.
He said
And
this
one of my-
before and then he picked Yeezus.
I'm about to convince myself to pick Yeezus because Yeezus has one of my favorite top 10 Kanye songs, Hold My Liquor. No doubt about it. One of the top 10 Kanye songs. Life of Pablo. To have any top 10 Kanye song on it. All good songs. any of them top 10 Kanye?
I would doubt it.
My life is. Which are the songs on Yeezus on Life of Pablo Andy that are top 10 Kanye?
Let me just read.
Like Ultralight Beam is a good song, like, but I don't think it's top 10 Kanye.
Highlights is really good. Waves.
The top 10. I'm saying top 10.
Oh, which songs are like in the top 10 ever?
Ever of Kanye songs that are on
Ultralight Beam,
there's only
Fade, No More Parties in LA.
No More Parties in LA?
Yeah.
Up 10 Kanye? And you don't even like Donda? Right? You're swaying me towards Jesus more than ever here.
Well, you're trying to convince me. I've won.
James, this is a tough one for you because you don't seem to like the Life of Pablo at all whatsoever. And you just automatically like Yeezus. So for you, it's
no, not even automatically. I like Yeezus is like be my number 4 album, maybe number 3. Yeah, probably number 3 actually.
And what?
Like
808's Graduation.
No. Beautiful Fantasy, 808s, and probably Yeezus then.
Okay.
Because for me, it's Donda. No, it's Donda, Jesus, King, and Ye. One of which have made it.
Yeah, I would say I really regretted not putting in Ye.
Well, it wouldn't have won.
Like, would have won that kicked Ye out, Andy.
Yeah, but then I listened to it again.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not like anything else he has.
It's only got one good song on it.
Ye? No.
The first song.
The very last song is really, really good.
Nah.
Yeah, they're all Ghost Town.
The one about daughter. You have a daughter?
Daughter.
Talk about relatable. Something is savage, something is monsters, till something has daughters.
No, he has a much better song about having a kid. Like the one about his mother talking. Only one. Yeah, that one. That's such a good song. That's such a good song.
It is, yeah, it's very good. The unreleased version of that is extended and has like 2 extra minutes. Very, very good.
I think Yeezus is a much better album. I think Life of Pablo it's too long and it's a bit too meandering. Do you know what I mean? It kind of just goes on a bit too long. Whereas Yeezus is this nice compact album. Like how long is it? Like 40 minutes.
Long. There's not a lot of songs on it. Like there's 10 songs on it.
Yeah.
20 songs on Life of Pablo.
I think 40 to 45 minutes is like the perfect time for an album in general.
Why? What makes you think that?
That's just my own feeling. Like from years of listening to albums, I think once it gets past an hour, it's too long. I always think. And it's too hard to.
This podcast is way more than an hour. What's your opinion on that?
Well, that's different. Podcasts are different because you just like listen to a bit of it as you're wandering around. That's what I do anyway. Like I listen to a podcast.
You can just listen to a bit of it while you're wandering around.
I have to get the full experience. When I want to listen to an album, I want to listen to that album. Like I don't listen to
I want to listen to a podcast. I want to listen to the podcast. You're making a moot point. The good thing about Life of Pablo
I think that's a moot point.
This is a point that you made about cartoons, or maybe it's the opposite point you made about cartoons. The Life of Pablo is an album that you can really jump in and. Life of Pablo.
This either completely agrees with you or disagrees with you.
Yeah, well, you'll tell me which one it is because I don't be listening to you. The Life of Pablo is an album that you can just kind of jump in and jump out of because the songs are, great and standalone songs. Whereas Yeezus is that one whole experience that you have to kind of commit to Yeezus, taking something out of it. If you listen to a song like made it out of context, or what's the opening track on Yeezus? On Sight.
On Sight.
If you listen to that outside of the context of the album, then next comes on Led Zeppelin, and next comes on Bob Dylan or something. You're like, wow, what the frick was that?
Yeah.
Because if you listen to any song on Life of Pablo in the middle of a Led Zeppelin song and a Bob Dylan song, you'd be like, yeah, this is all music.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't agree. I don't agree at all. I
agree with that point.
No, Did
you listen to the end of 5 Minute yet? And it's a cool little rap bit.
I know. Like the end of I'm in it is really good. I said that before.
James is voting for Yeezus, Andy.
I love me Yeezus.
That's good. Do you want to know what I'm going to vote for?
New Slaves. New Slaves.
That's
boom, boom, boom,
boom, boom.
Yeezus, because it's an attack on your ear holes for however long the album is, and it's a work of art. It's a whole concept.
All works of art. So hold on, Andy. You're voting to.
Steve. It's in the bracket. It's in the bracket.
That's just there for the moment.
It's in.
Oh, sorry. I'll undo that.
All right. Sorry, what are you saying?
Voting to be attacked. Want to be attacked.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Life of Pablo.
Doesn't make any sense. Look, here, I'll put it to you this way, Andy. I know you like Kanye West. I know you do, right? Jesus, 10 Kanye West songs. Life of Pablo, 20 Kanye West songs.
That's true. There is twice as much.
Okay, the only argument I could see for Life of Pablo winning is the fact that for some stupid reason, you two idiots have decided that it's better than 808s and Heartbreak and Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't understand that.
Yeezus would have been for them, innit?
I don't understand that.
No, would not have hope.
It would not have in a million years.
Not a hope.
What?
I don't understand that reasoning, but
yeah,
I have to accept that there's something about Life of Pablo that I'm missing.
I think, Jim, that's a good point, that Life of Pablo is an album that you put into the conversation with albums like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It's that kind of album, you know? Whereas I think Yeezus is an album that you put into the conversation with Ye or Jesus is King.
No.
Because
I can see that.
No.
It's or 808s and Heartbreak. It's one idea expressed. Whereas My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is many ideas expressed. Life of Pablo is many ideas expressed.
All right. So well, in that case, then I'm happy to go with Life of Pablo. Steve?
I'll go Life of Pablo.
Well, I think Andy made a good, or Jamie, you made a good. This is the only reason I could vote for the thing that I initially wasn't going to vote for, and that's why you didn't vote for Pablo. I would say the only reason that I would vote for Yeezus is Hold My Liquor. That's the only reason I'd vote for Kanye, but it doesn't sway me. Overall, the project of Life of Pablo, I think it's more enjoyable.
I agree.
Well, there you go.
I think. Oh, wait, I'm not sure.
Well, it's been decided now. I like. Out of the,
I don't know.
It's really the Andy, because it's his favorite two albums. Like, I would hate to be in your position, Andy. I'd hate to be choosing between Jesus is King and Donda. I would not like to be in the choose.
I'd hate to have the opinion that those are my two favorites.
Is this not settled? What are you going for? I mean, I'm officially.
You've gone for the Life of Pablo.
Yeah.
Steven's gone for the Life of Pablo.
Yeah.
So I don't have to say.
Of course you do. What
You
do you
have
say?
to commit.
Life of Pablo. The Life of Pablo. Because there's twice as much, and it's still
That's
a massive
unanimous.
work of art. And there's so many crazy moments in it. Yeah, the Life of Pablo.
There you go. There's our
Yeah,
winner,
just-
Life of Pablo. Like the bottom album of the 8 that we had for me, probably.
No, My
But-
Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was on the bottom.
Oh.
And the Life of Pablo bet there.
I cannot agree with what we
I can't
just
believe
did.
Life of Pablo bet My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
It's a better album.
It's absolutely not, but apparently I'm surrounded by
Looking
idiots.
back now, I don't know how I bet it.
My Beautiful Dark My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is overproduced.
I think it was that James couldn't pronounce the name of the album that he was
That really
arguing for.
bugged me. I was going to vote for it.
Anyway,
You weren't.
we're done with this
You
episode
are.
because I need to go throw up in a ditch or something. Where can we find each other on the
You don't
internet?
look like a guy with bulimia.
No. Stephen, where can you be found on the internet and the interwebs?
Can we find that?
I can be
I was going to
fine.
read out my whole Linktree URL, but anyway, Knucklebutt on like Instagram and TikTok. I'm mostly active on TikTok, to be honest with you.
And
You listen to my
I'm
music on Bandcamp.
woo. And I'm Games Plus James in all the places. Go learn about making games and all that fun stuff. Andrew, are you anywhere?
I'm in the winner's enclosure, baby. Second week in a row.
Nice.
That was the show.